Hello and welcome back to Comp 2. Today I'm going to be talking about your nonprofit project. All of the information in this video and more is in your assignment instructions, so please make sure that you read those thoroughly and let me know if you have any questions. So for this assignment, you're going to be researching a small or micro nonprofit and then writing and presenting on that nonprofit. What you're going to do is create a persuasive argument that encourages community engagement. I want you to do this by integrating research, rhetorical appeals, as well as personal reflection. And like I said, you will present your work in both a written essay and a presentation. So let's talk about what a micro or small nonprofit is. It's generally defined as a nonprofit organization with limited financial and operational resources. So we are not talking about national or global nonprofits here. What we're talking about is small and local people in our community. So there's no universal definition, but key characteristics of a micro nonprofit often include limited annual revenue, typically less than $250,000 a year, but some even set the threshold at $100,000 a year or less. Typically, micro nonprofits operate with a small team. Usually, they rely heavily on volunteers or part-time staff with few, if any, full-time employees. A lot of times, micro nonprofits are focused on serving a specific and localized community and or addressing a very niche issue. The funding for these micro or small nonprofits are usually reliant on individual donations, small grants, or even grassroots fundraising efforts. And oftentimes, these smaller micro nonprofits are led by a founder or a small group of dedicated individuals with minimal overhead expenses. These organizations typically work on a smaller scale, but usually they have a significant impact within their specific communities or causes. So for this assignment, you are going to select a small or micro nonprofit. There is a list of options that you can choose from in eCampus. You don't have to pick one of those, but if you have no idea where to get started, it's a good place to jump in. And then once you've picked your micro nonprofit, you're going to research the nonprofit's mission, its impact, and its needs. And then you're going to write a persuasive essay with personal reflection. And then once you finish that, you will present your findings persuasively to the class. For this project, I'm going to ask that you not select a religious nonprofit. So, this is an individual assignment, but if you would like to work in groups of 2 or 3, an additional 1 to 2 peers, you are allowed to do that. If you choose to do that, you will have one mutual presentation where everybody participates equally, and then you will have individual essays. So like I said, you can do this individually, you can do this as a group of 2 or a group of 3. You will have one presentation and then one essay per person. And then it does need to be a micro nonprofit. This means small budget, limited staff, local focus, grassroots fundraising, etc. So let's talk about your essay. This essay will be approximately 800 to 1,000 words. It'll be in MLA format. I'm going to ask that you include a stellar introduction, like all of your writing projects, a thesis statement, a body that includes things like background information, all of your rhetorical appeals, ethos, pathos, and logos, data, as well as counter arguments. And then I would like substantial reflection, why you chose this nonprofit and what you learned by researching them. And then your conclusion should have a memorable call to action. Your presentation will be roughly the same information as your essay, but you need to engage your audience persuasively. Don't just read your essay. You are going to have some sort of visual element, whether this is slides or images, multimedia, that sort of thing. Whatever you need to engage your audience and convince them of the value of your nonprofit. It is a 5 to 7 minute presentation. For my face-to-face classes, they're going to be presenting in person, but you will record your presentation and then you're going to submit a link or a file. And there'll be full instructions on how to do this in eCampus. So when you turn in this assignment, you are going to turn in both parts. You are going to turn in the essay. This will be a Word document, and then you are going to turn in your presentation, whether that's a recorded PowerPoint like this or you have made a video. For the essay, I am going to be evaluating you on the content and the argument, the organization and style, the evidence and the examples, the reflection, as well as the mechanics and the MLA format. And then for your presentation, I'm going to be looking at your content and organization, your visual aids, your delivery, and your professionalism. If you have any questions about this project, let me know.